It takes a lot of time, but I'm dedicated, and it's brought me quite a bit of attention so far anyway.
The whole year to prepare for this competition, being an Arnold Classic champion 3 times, 02, 03, 04, I took all of them.
From the moment he was born on August 3, 1973, in Worcester, Massachusetts, Jason Isaac Cutler's life was destined to be a battle. The youngest of 7 children, Jay didn't have the luxury of a carefree childhood. At just 11 years old, while other kids were playing video games and riding bikes, Jay was already working in his brother's concrete business. Picture this: a child, barely a teenager, lifting heavy bags of cement, working construction sites, his small hands blistered and bleeding, his back aching from labor that would break grown men. But Jay didn't complain. He couldn't afford to. Every morning before school he was on those construction sites. Every afternoon after school, back to the concrete. This wasn't character building. This was survival. His body was being forged in the fires of manual labor, his mind learning that pain was just part of the process. What he didn't know was that he was training his body to endure suffering that would later nearly kill him. When he finally started training with weights at 18, Jay thought he had found his escape. He played football in high school, always loved sports, but bodybuilding spoke to something deeper in him. In 1993, he graduated with a degree in criminal justice, planning to work in maximum security prisons. Can you imagine? Jay Cutler, one of the greatest bodybuilders of all time, almost spent his life behind prison walls as a guard instead of on stage under the lights. But 2 men saw something in him that he couldn't yet see in himself. Bruce Vartanian, a businessman, and Chris Aceto, a nutritionist, pushed him toward professional bodybuilding. Chris completely revolutionized Jay's diet and training strategy, teaching him that building muscle wasn't just about eating everything in sight. It required precision, science, and sacrifice. What Chris couldn't teach him was how to protect his body from what was coming. In 1992, Jay entered his first competition at the Gold's Gym Worcester Bodybuilding Championships. He came in 2nd place, not first, second. And this would become the story of Jay Cutler's life for the next decade. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. In 1993, he won his first major victory at the Iron Bodies Invitational. By 1996, at just 23 years old, he won the NPC Nationals Heavyweight Division and earned his IFBB Pro Card. But earning your Pro Card is just the beginning. The real nightmare was about to start, and nobody warned him about the price his body would pay. Jay debuted at the Mr. Olympia in 1999 and placed 14th. 14th. Can you imagine the humiliation, the doubt, the fear that maybe he wasn't good enough? In 2000, he climbed to 8th place. Progress, but still so far from the top. Then in 2001, something changed. Jay placed 2nd, right behind the unstoppable force that was Ronnie Coleman. And here's where Jay's story becomes truly heartbreaking. And here's what nobody tells you about training at that level. Jay spent more money on therapies to keep his body functioning than most Americans earn in a year. Every single day he needed chiropractic work, deep tissue massage, physical therapy, just to be able to train the next day. His body was falling apart in real time, held together by tape and willpower. The diet was equally punishing, but not in the way people think. 6 to 8 meals per day, every day, for years. Chicken, lean beef, rice, potatoes, oatmeal, eggs, protein shakes. No holidays, no cheat meals, no mercy. But here's the terrifying truth, Jay later revealed. The food is the killer. We can talk about drugs, dehydration, and everything else, but what kills people is heart disease caused by overeating. Not the steroids, the food. Jay was force-feeding himself astronomical amounts of protein and calories, thousands upon thousands of calories day after day, putting unbearable stress on his heart, liver, kidneys, and digestive system. His organs were working overtime just to process the sheer volume of food required to maintain 290 pounds of muscle. 290 pounds. That's what Jay weighed during his competitive years, on a 5'9" frame. Medically, he was obese. His heart was pumping blood through a body that was never meant to exist at that size. Every beat was harder, every breath was work, and Jay knew it. He later admitted, When you're 290 pounds at 5'9", you're considered obese. It puts enormous strain on the heart. Although I felt pretty good at 290, I knew I couldn't maintain that for a long time. But he kept going, because quitting wasn't an option. Not after 6 years of second place, not after all that suffering. And then there were the substances. Jay eventually came clean about what everyone already knew. During his prime years from 2000 to 2005, he cycled performance-enhancing drugs. After the Olympia, he'd come off for 12 weeks, then start his cycle for the Arnold Classic, then come off for 8 to 12 weeks, then start again in June for the next Olympia, year after year, cycle after cycle. The medical research is terrifying. Steroid users have 3 times higher mortality rates than non-users. The risks? Cardiomyopathy, heart muscle disease, atrial fibrillation, abnormal heart rhythms, pulmonary embolism, blocked arteries, liver damage, kidney failure. But when you're so close to greatness, you ignore the warnings, you silence the voice telling you to stop. And then came 2001's controversy. Jay tested positive for banned diuretics at the Mr. Olympia. The humiliation was public, the punishment severe. He had to fight in court just to restore his second-place finish. The whispers, the accusations, the doubt from fans and competitors, it all added to the psychological warfare he was already fighting against himself. But Jay kept coming back. At the Arnold Classic, he finally found some relief, winning 3 consecutive titles from 2002 to 2004. But the Olympia, the crown jewel of bodybuilding, continued to elude him. Finally, in 2006, after years of being told he wasn't good enough, after watching Ronnie Coleman dominate the sport, after literally breaking his body down to nothing, Jay Cutler did the impossible. He dethroned the king. He won his first Mr. Olympia title. The relief, the vindication, the years of pain finally paying off, it was all worth it. He defended his title in 2007, but in 2008 disaster struck. Dexter Jackson defeated him, and Jay lost his crown. The fear must have been overwhelming. Was his time over? Was he a flash in the pan? Would he be remembered as a 2-time champion who couldn't maintain his dominance? But Jay Cutler doesn't quit. In 2009, he came back harder, leaner, more aggressive than ever before. He performed his legendary quad stomp pose, literally stomping his leg to showcase his massive quadriceps, with cuts so deep they looked carved by a sculptor. He became the first bodybuilder in history to lose the Mr. Olympia and then win it back. He defended it again in 2010, earning his 4th Sandow Trophy. But the human body can only take so much punishment, and Jay's bill was about to come due. In 2011, 3 weeks before the Mr. Olympia, where he was defending his title, Jay was training when he felt something tear. His bicep. The upper bicep completely ruptured, the muscle literally detaching from the bone. The pain was unimaginable. He had to undergo emergency surgery. 6 weeks of physical therapy. For most people, this would be career-ending. For Jay, it was just another obstacle. Here's the insane part. He still competed. With a surgically repaired arm, tolerating pain that would hospitalize most people, Jay walked on that stage and placed second to Phil Heath. His body was screaming at him to stop, but he refused to listen. In 2012, the injury forced him to miss the Olympia entirely. Can you imagine the mental anguish? A 4-time champion sitting at home, watching other men compete for the title he had bled for. His body, pushed beyond every limit for decades, was finally saying no. He tried to come back in 2013. His shoulders, the most injury-prone joints in the body, were damaged from decades of pressing massive weights. His back was injured and would continue to haunt him for years. He placed 6th at the 2013 Mr. Olympia. And just like that, Jay Cutler's competitive career was over. No farewell tour, no triumphant final victory. Just a 6th-place finish and the silent walk off stage, knowing he would never compete again. But Jay made a decision that saved his life. At 40 years old, he walked away and immediately started downsizing. He watched as fellow competitors continued pushing into their 40s and 50s. He watched some of them die. George Peterson, Sean Roden, the 2018 Mr. Olympia, dead in his 40s. Their hearts simply gave out from years of abuse. Jay knew if he kept walking around at 290 pounds, he'd be next. The extreme yo-yo dieting, the constant weight fluctuations, the dehydration protocols so severe that competitors needed medical attention just walking off stage, it all adds up. And eventually, the body collapses. Today, at 50 years old, Jay admits he's one of the lucky ones. No major heart problems. No crippling joint pain like his rival Ronnie Coleman, who can barely walk after multiple back surgeries. But Jay is honest about what it took to survive. Smart training instead of ego lifting, controlled eating instead of force feeding, and knowing when to walk away. He now warns younger bodybuilders, as you get older, we have to be more conscious about how much weight we're carrying around. It's not good on the heart. I just feel that competing in your 40s, pushing yourself, being depleted and dehydrated to that extent, I don't know if that's the best thing for your health. But the scars remain. The years of damage can't be completely undone. Every time Jay trains, he's reminded of the surgeries, the injuries, the times he pushed past pain that should have killed him. His body is a roadmap of sacrifice, every joint telling a story of what it costs to be great. That's the reality nobody talks about. 4 Mr. Olympia titles, 3 Arnold Classic wins, millions of dollars, fame, legacy. But at what cost? An 11-year-old boy working construction sites, growing into a man who would push his body to the absolute edge of human survival. 6 years of second place, never giving up. A torn bicep, a damaged heart working overtime for decades, organs stressed beyond their limits. Jay Cutler paid for greatness with pieces of his body that can never be replaced, with years of his life that the stress may have stolen, with a cardiovascular system that will never be quite the same. He survived when many didn't. He walked away when others couldn't. That's not just a story of triumph, it's a cautionary tale. It's a reminder that every trophy has a price tag written in blood, sweat, and permanent damage. And sometimes the greatest victory isn't winning. It's knowing when to stop before the sport takes everything from you. Jay Cutler became a legend, but he also became a survivor. And in bodybuilding, sometimes that's the same thing.